come back next year.
What's it like driving out in these conditions at the moment?
It's impossible to see. I mean, you know, more chance of winning the lottery and staying on the track out there. It's just so slippery. You cannot see anything.
VB time and watch it on the box, won't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Cheers, thanks.
It's been a pretty cruel race too for Jason Bargwanna at the front there behind the safety car. Before Glenn Seaton's incident, he had in excess of a 40-second lead.
Oh, what a shame.
And now he still has to complete his compulsory pit stop, and he's lost all of that margin.
It's incredible.
All fun and games here at Sandown as we are back under green. The safety car has left the circuit. Brad Jones also after some contact with Stephen Ellery. Brad was the innocent party there, though. We get on with it. Jason Bargwanna continues to lead this race from Team Kiwis. Jason Richards, but just again repeating that neither of these two drivers have completed their pit stop.
And as you pointed out before, Lee, tough break for Jason and the Valvoline team because they hung out a little bit too long. Here's Bradley on the inside of Ellery.
Oh, we didn't see that earlier.
No, we didn't.
Now watch for the payback.
Look at this, watch.
Under brakes into the next turn.
No, look,
Contact with Bernard.
And then another one, bang.
Now watch. Lovely. Bradley did a good job, didn't he? Because he turned left and came back on the circuit behind.
Like he was on his way to the Dandenongs for a moment there. Just as Ellery hit everybody in the field there. Brad pays a heavy price there. Gone right up into the grass and to rejoin the race right at the back of the field. Here's the battle for the lead, though. Jason Bargwanna, Jason Richards.
Fox, he's flying.
Oh, Rodney Forbes.
Oh, close was that? He did a good job to miss that, didn't he?
He sure did. This is just an indication of how slippery it's getting out there, how bad the vision is. All these cars coming off left, right and centre. It just turns into an ice skating rink. It's so hard. I mean, Paul Radisich summed it up there beautifully before. It just, you've got no idea watching on television just how little visibility there is. There is the visibility out of the cars. That gives you some of an idea. Out of the cars is shocking, and the grip available is minuscule.
John Panozzo and the team at Gary Rogers Motorsport tell me that they have changed the setup on Jason Bargwanna's car between this morning's race, or the earlier race I should say, and this one, and Jason's reporting that it's handling really well in the wet conditions. Now, given what happened with the safety car there, they are going to keep him out as long as possible at this stage and try and stretch it almost to the end of the window.
Well, who knows what can happen. We've got such a long way to go, but
well, he was so badly trapped by being out there when all of a sudden the safety car came, but if he continues to lead it like he is at the moment and make a gap, then who knows? Well, here's more cars. Scaife. Stephen Richards is involved. This is getting crazy. It's getting silly. This is coming up to the final corner. Scaife's pointing the wrong way. There's Rodney Forbes, who is pointing the right way again after his excursion. Bradley went off before turn 2.
He's got damage to the front end of this car as well. How bad it is, we don't yet know.
Pretty bad. Yeah, look at that.
Well, the interesting thing here, Marcus Ambrose is the first of the cars that's made its compulsory stop. He's in third position, and he's only about 5 or 6 seconds behind Jason Bargwanna. So Ambrose is sitting in the box seat at the moment.
Yeah.
But not the champ. We have not seen it. Barely a scratch on this car.
He's going to go off. Oh, he's gone off.
It's not making any aero downforce at all at the front, so, and there could be bits of fiberglass and rubbish in there, so Mark will be able to hear the thing scraping.
And I'd say that Jeff Gregg will have already told Mark to come on in.
Yeah, I reckon that he'll bring the thing in if it's got terminal front end damage. At a minimum, they'll bring it in and have a look at it, make sure the car is actually safe.
Look at that. That's on the back straight.
Jason Richards is now the race leader. I think Jason Bargwanna is either pitted or Richards has got past him.
No,
he has pitted. So there's Bargwanna. He's peeled off. Jason Richards now in the Team Kiwi. Commodore is leading this one. It's the first time he's ever led a Shell Championship Series race. A great moment for the Kiwis at the final round.
Real tough break for Bargwanna. Started the weekend in 19th. Stunning drive in the first race from 19th to 9th. Finished 7th in the second race and was leading in excess of 40 seconds in this one. That's all disappeared now.
They had a slight problem with the front left when they were putting it on. You might also be able to notice from that shot that Garth Tander's car is here in pit lane. They developed some sort of problem, and Garth is out of the Supercar and none too happy at the moment.
And Mark Scapes coming in. Let's have a look at the damage on the front of this car, and it's pretty substantial around the front left-hand corner. I understand that if Mark wanted to get a feel for the car on that lap, and if they can repair it, and he'd prefer to get back out there and go, that decision will be made by those looking from the outside, no doubt.
I'll tell you, he's absolutely charging at the moment is Craig Lowndes. He's gone from 16th up to 5th in the space of 3 laps. Gibson Motorsport Ford is absolutely marching through the field, and he's up to 4th in the order.
He switched it off.
It's not the way that Mark Scaife wanted to end this season. Here is the Shell Helix replay. Let's see what we can make of this.
Oh, this is Mark chasing the back of Greg Murphy.
Yep. What happened?
And they're going into the turn 9. He's gone up the inside of Murph.
Gone straight on.
Gone straight on.
Right. What did all the damage, though?
He's probably going to hit something on the way out.
Stephen Richards was involved somewhere. There's Stephen.
That's what did all the damage.
Yeah.
He hit Richo. So just an indication of how slippery it is. Scaife saw him come off there in race 2. It's caught him again in race 3, but he's paid a big price this time. Damage to the car and retirement from the race.
Yeah, it's a very disappointing end too. It had been going so well, but the conditions here are just so treacherous, Mark.
Yeah, that was a silly mistake of mine. I bit up the inside. See, right, I was going to make it okay, and understeered pretty wide and got up on the curb, and I was a bit excited about getting back on the black stuff and spun around, so I ended up hitting Steve Richards. He was the innocent party in the end, so that was a bit dumb. Not a good way to finish our year. I would have really loved to have gone a bit better in that one.
Besides that, though, mate, what are the conditions like out there at the moment? We've asked a couple of people, they just say it's ridiculous almost.
Well, at the restart, you drive down the straight, and at whatever speed, you cannot see a thing. So, you know, it's pretty wild, but as soon as you can get past a couple of blokes, you can actually see, and it's good, and it's fantastic fun. I mean, driving in the wet is bloody good fun, but you just, you know, I mean, you just got to keep your head a bit with it, Rusty, and obviously Scaife didn't do that today.
Keep smiling, but
thanks, mate.
Yeah, he's hard on himself, isn't he?
10 out of 10 for honesty, though. Not too many blokes actually tell it as it is, and he admitted to his mistakes.
Look at Lowndes closing in on the back of Todd Kelly. This is the battle for 4th position. Kelly's running 4th. So Lowndes has absolutely bolted through the field.
That's what Mark Scaife was talking about. When you're on your own, he's 100% right. It's I wouldn't be a guy out there that probably doesn't enjoy throwing the cars around, but when you're buried in that mist, it's a nightmare.
Lowndes is the fastest man on the circuit by a mile. A 1:23.6 was his previous lap. Everyone around him running in the 24s and 25s. So he's absolutely on the march in these treacherous conditions.
Well, Garth Tander, car 34 is in the garage. What's happened?
The demister's not working again, Rusty. It happened again. It happened in the second race, and it was working fine for the first part of the race. We had a great pit stop and great strategy, and we jumped from 21st to being about 5th or 6th, and everything was going well. And then during the safety car, the demister stopped working, and it's not worth risking the car or myself out here. I took a stick out and wiped the windscreen last race, but I'm buggered if I'm doing that 2 races in a row.
Hard luck, Garth.
Thanks, mate.
I was good on him.
I was talking to one of the mechanics in there. He said, "Oh yeah, a fuse went." So I said, "Stick a 4-inch nail in it, then." That's the best way out.
We're waiting for Jason Richards to make his pit stop, and once he does, Marcus Ambrose will be the race leader from Greg Murphy. And this man, race 2 winner Todd Kelly. Lowndes is still on the charge from Jason Bright, Steve Ellery. Paul Morris is inside the top 10 from Wheel and Bernard as well. Been a very, very entertaining race, and we have still got a long way to go. 20+ laps here at Sandown. And Richards has come in, so Ambrose leads the way, yet to win a V8 Supercar race. Can he do it today here in these tough, tough conditions? Now Marcus Ambrose in the Pertec Ford continues to go from strength to strength and leads this race by over 3 seconds back to Greg Murphy. Now Craig Lowndes was in 3rd, but just as we were coming back from the commercial break, he's run off the circuit. Now this
is a replay, the Shell Helix replay of the earlier passing manoeuvre. This is passing Kelly for 3rd. He's got a better run out of the final corner, and they ran side by side down the front straight, but about a lap later, Craig's run wide, and those positions have now reversed again, and see that Craig's back in the distance. The actual gap between the top 4 is relatively tight. Ambrose, Murphy, Kelly, Lowndes, Jason Bright lurking around in 5th, then Ellery, Morris, Wheel, Ingle, Bernard, and Rick Kelly is 11th, Faulkner, Stevie Richards, Wills, Perkins, Stevie Johnson, Brad Jones down in 17th after the tour of the paddock.
I'm fairly sure it was because Marcus Ambrose just got a little caught up behind Tony Longhurst on that last lap, but Greg Murphy took 7/10 of a second out of him. We'll monitor that. Margin first to second. Kelly fourth, Kelly third, Lowndes fourth. Rodney Forbes off the circuit again. Steve Ellery running behind Bright in sixth. Morris, Wheel, Ingle, Bernard. Good job by Rick Kelly, isn't it?
Very good job. Yeah. Great job by this man. Marcus Ambrose, who's 25 years of age, originally from Tasmania, now based up on the Gold Coast. And as far as V8 rookies go, he has really done a sensational job in 2001, moulding a new team around and coming to terms with a V8 supercar.
Lowndes is back on the case again with Kelly. This is second. Greg Murphy, Tony Longhurst is down one lap, and then the battle for third and fourth unfolding again between the Kmart Commodore and the Gibson Motorsport Ford. Lowndes went off down at Dandenong Road just on the exit. Looked like he went in there a little bit hot. The car seems to be quick. It's toured the paddock a couple of times.
If he can get by Kelly, Murphy's not that far up the road.
Jason Richards from Team Kiwi Racing has just come back into pit lane, not for a scheduled stop. He had to do a stop-go penalty. That's for pit lane speeding. So they've got the quick infringement there. I've also been down and had a word to Keys Wheel from the K&J Thermal team. They're really happy. They've completed a really slick stop, and the car is apparently handling exceptionally well out there. Paul's really pleased with it. Currently, he's in 8th position. That's a good effort.
That's a good run from him, and also Paul Morris is in 7th. So both the Queenslanders.
You confirmed before, Lee, that that moment he had in the earlier race was just an aquaplaning moment at the end of the straight, which is pretty scary. And so I maligned accidentally Russell, because we were saying earlier that it might have been a Russell-related incident, which it certainly wasn't.
Talk about really showing him how to drive out there in the wet at the moment, Alan Heaphy. Craig Lowndes is on such a charge.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. I mean, I'm glad I'm not a passenger in the car with him. I think I'd be dead by now, but certainly is a very talented young man. The car seems to be working okay, but it is so easy for you to have an off out there at the moment. He's made a couple of places and he's lost a couple of places, but no, extraordinary talent, and yeah, just great to see him out there doing such a good job.
I bet you're wishing he didn't have to come in and do that second pit stop to pull the grass out. Can he pull the leaders in now?
Well, he's going to have to struggle, because the blokes that are in the first 3 or 4 places, or 3 places anyway, pretty tough characters, so he's just got to try and keep working at it, and there's a lot of the race left yet, and there's all sorts of things could still happen.
He's doing a good job. Thanks, Alan.
Thanks, mate.
He set the fastest lap of the race on the previous lap at 1:21.4. So, as Alan pointed out, he's certainly got the speed at the moment, but he's got to find the opportunity. And Todd will be a wake-up to most of the moves. He's one of them. Can he get it done? Oh, he's locked up. Will it turn? No, it won't turn.
That's what he did last
place again. And that's been more costly, though. That has been very costly. He's lost a lot of time there to Todd Kelly.
Now he's back behind Tony Longhurst again. So you can see how hard Lowndes is pushing. He's just
and Ambrose coming up behind you. Richards
right on the limit. Forward in-car camera tells the story. Craig Lowndes, you can see, he is just pushing so hard, and he's driving on what is effectively a skating ring. Goes to the inside, gets Longhurst again, but there's no doubt about the speed of the car.
The car's got terrific speed, but it's just no good being off the road there. And what's happening is that when he comes out of the wheel tracks, there's so little amount of grip available that he just can't pull it up in time. Let's have a look at him dance. It's very delicate on the throttle in the wet compared to the dry.
Flatten it. Pretty quick one that is, Mark.
See him modulating the brake, just trying to feel the road.
The really interesting thing about watching someone drive a V8 supercar, Neil, is the amount of trailing brake. You hold the brake right up to the apex of the turn.
Yeah. Just watch the throttle and the brake modulation. Watch it here. That's the reason he's strong in this race. He's got good drive off the corners. He didn't have to adjust the throttle at all then. It was one progressive application. As he came off the Dandenong Road, turn 8, he had to have a couple of shots at it. and that's the sign of a car that's working pretty well in the wet. But a lot of modulation of the brake pedal, try and just feel the road right on the limit of the brakes, in and out of it all the time, just to try and get it right to the limit.
It's working very well as he maintains his 4th position and tries to regain that lost ground to Todd Kelly. There is Team Kiwi Racing's Jason Richards.
Rejoined.
Fastest lap of the race now to Ambrose, 21.143.
Jason Richards in 21st place after holding out there. One of the last guys to come in for his compulsory stop.
Well, you were saying earlier on about Ambrose, Mark. Imagine next year. I mean, all of this has been brand new to him. Oh, Jason, like Craig, Jason Richards. Yeah, I mean, every race next year they'll have data, they'll have everything. He's been to the circuits, he's driven a V8 there, so you'd have to, if you're a betting man, you'd have to have a bit of heat on his side.
It's sort of deceptive, you know, when you've got a 25-year-old rookie. There's McConville just getting back onto the track. A 25-year-old rookie in a V8 supercar, but rookie is, it's all relative. I mean, that only applies to V8 supercars. He's got an enormous amount of experience in open-wheeler racing.
I can remember Lee introducing me to Marcus here when he was just going to England. Do you remember?
Yeah, he used to come up and do some Formula Ford commentary with us.
And the amount of gravel coming out of the front of McConville's car.
Oh, that is McConville Corner, that, isn't it? That's where Cam went in there upside down.
Only just picked up the edge of it and managed to grab the throttle in the nick of time and just squeeze out. That was a pretty lucky save there for Cam. And you could see it as he went into turn 1. He was on and off the brake pedal, trying to get the front tyres to rotate, but also slow the car down enough so he could steer it.
Jason Bright currently sits in 5th position. Russell Ingall sits in 8th. So with those positions, if they remain as is, Russell Ingall will have that runners-up position in this championship sewn up.
All he has to do, Ingall, is finish the first 19, and even if Brighty won it, he'd still finish second. Ingall would still finish second.
It's like quite a healthy dig in the side of Jason Bright's car.
Well, Glenn Seaton, you're down here in pit lane. Perhaps not so interested spectator. You'd probably prefer to be out there, I think, wouldn't you? What happened?
I just got down the end of the straight and got my foot on the brake and turned the car sideways. His aquaplaned on the water and bumped the fence and ended up in the sand trap. But I'd actually probably prefer to be sitting out here at the moment, I got to tell you, because it's quite treacherous conditions out there. But it's naturally, without the rain coming down now, it's starting to clear a bit. But it would be nice to be out there now than it was a bit earlier.
Let's talk about that very briefly. With the rain stopping now, it is still pretty wet out there. Will we get a dry line, do you think, by the end of the race?
I don't think you'll get a dry line, but it'll be a much safer situation to be in the straights, because before you're actually getting down the straight in top gear and you're actually wheel spinning in top gear, and that's something that gets the heart going, that's for sure.
Roll on 2002, Glenn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Russell Ingall just sweeps up to 7th position, taking Paul Wheel in the K&J thermal car. An indication of how it's starting to improve slightly. Lowndes has done the fastest lap of the race on 1:26.2 on the previous lap, and that's the fastest lap we've seen all day. Craig is absolutely on it.
Definitely getting a sort of a water-free. What was it, Neil? It's less wet.
Less wet.
Less wet. Right. A less wet line we're getting now.
Yeah. Russell Ingall's got his wiper back.
Here we go. Speed on the left.
230.
How'd you like to be in those conditions at 247 kilometres an hour?
Yeah.
Fantastic shot this. We look at this at Mount Panorama. And camera over the shoulder of the driver. Gives you a bird's eye view of the low-tech dashboard and all the amazing amount of information that's available to the driver.
While Russell has grabbed that better position, let's highlight the good performance from young Paul Wheel.
Yeah, great.
Who's
really
sitting
good.
in the top 10. That's a pretty good effort. He started 16th and is currently running 8th. So he's halved his position. And a strong run from that small Queensland-based team. And one position further up the road from Ingall is Paul Morris, who maintains his 6th behind Jason Bright.
Quite incredible, the battle between Marcus Ambrose and Greg Murphy for the lead of this race. It's 3.2 seconds. It's remained virtually static. And despite these slippery conditions, those guys are lapping within 100th or 1/10 of a second of each other each lap. Quite incredible.
David Bernard in the Caltex Haviland Ford currently runs in 9th position. And as we mentioned earlier, if you've just joined us and haven't heard the news that Wayne Gardner will join this team and run in the same colour scheme as this in a limited program next year. Haven't finalised exactly how many races Wayne will do. He certainly will do the Enduros, and perhaps about 5 or 6 races in total.
Well, not only is it the final round of the championship, but also the final time that Bridgestone will supply tyres to V8 Supercars. Have a look at this. This is their tyre garage. Garage sale this Sunday only. I'm here with Graham Brown, affectionately known as Mort. I suppose a bit of a sad time for you, Graham.
Mate, it is a sad time. We've had a fantastic 3 years in supplying the tyres for this category. Totally enjoyed it, and yeah, like there'll be a few tears in the eyes tonight, but quite a big celebration as well.
A few beers, I would say, as well. You got many to get rid of?
Yeah, we've got we're probably left with around about 400 dry tyres and probably 600 wet weather tyres. We couldn't thin it down any more than that, otherwise we ran the risk of not having enough to get us through to the end of the championship.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll still see you from rounds to come in up and down pit lane, no matter what you're doing, Graham. Best of luck.
Thanks very much.
Graham has been on the Australian motorsport scene for many, many years, and to he and Kevin Fitzsimmons, a job well done.
Yeah, that's a really hard act to follow, isn't it? I mean, Dunlop's really got...